Hi there. We're going to get right to this day in history in just a minute, but first I want to tell you that as I record this, it's 2021 and Texas is having a blizzard. You might have heard. It's crazy. Holy cow. Well, we're probably going to be getting back above freezing in a couple more days. Tomorrow will be a little bit warmer than it was today, and today was quite a bit warmer than it was yesterday, and by warm I mean 20 degrees instead of 12. But I could deal with all of that. But when I woke up this morning, there was an email from my internet service provider, my cable provider, apologizing for the disruption in service, and that whether I had electricity or not, that, you know, maybe the place that the internet comes from or is routed through might not have electricity, and to not be surprised if we experienced disruptions in service. That was the thing that I could count on, you know, was having internet. So when I got that email, I thought, well, okay, we can deal with that. You know, I've always got the cell service. Well, maybe or not. A while ago, I tried to make a call and I got an error message. I did get a voicemail, and when I tried to call that person back, I got an error message. Somebody tried to call me and they got an error message. So for some reason, we're having trouble making or receiving phone calls. And that's kind of scary. And we do seem to be able to do texts, though. We did get a text. Each of us on our respective phones got texts from the mobile service that we use, explaining that in this difficult time that our any overages, any data overages that we experience, they wouldn't be charging us for this series of days. So fortunately, the text does still seem to work, but you can't quite text a video yet that I know of. So I'm going to go ahead and snag last year's video and re-upload it with this caveat. I'll go through, and if there's anything that says 2020, I'll correct it for 2021. And let's just all keep praying for the most benevolent outcome, for a speedy resolution to this crazy weather we're having and all the complications that it causes. And in the meantime, please stay safe, stay warm. And here we go with today's video. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for February 18th. February 18th is the 49th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 316 days remaining until the end of the year, except for leap years when there's 317 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is aerosol. Aerosol is a cloud of solid or liquid particles in a gas. A dispenser that holds a substance under pressure and that can release it as a fine spray, usually by means of a propellant gas. An aerosol is a substance released in a very fine mist, like oven cleaner or air freshener. An aerosol contains tiny particles of liquid or solid suspended within a gas. Spray paint is an aerosol product, released at the press of a button and a hissing spray. The aerosol paint emerges in the form of a gas and adheres to the surface as a solid color. Aerosol products can be dangerous since they're typically flammable and can cause health problems if people inhale them. Now we're talking about the spray kind with the pressurized gas that drives them. The word aerosol was coined in 1919 from a combination of aero, which means air, and sol, short for solution. I'd like to take a moment to remind you that links to my research are included in the show notes, and to ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure and stay to the end because you know you don't want to miss those outtakes. And share this video with others. You can put a link in your email or your social media, either one. And with that, we're going to start in 1791, when Congress passed a law admitting the state of Vermont to the Union, which would be effective on the 4th of March, since that state had existed for 14 years already as a de facto independent and largely unrecognized state. February 18 of 1848 is the birth date of Louis Comfort Tiffany, an American stained glass artist. On February 18 of 1885, Mark Twain published The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced the winners of the first Academy Awards on February 18, 1929. Poor little Pluto. An article I found about it said, once believed to be the 9th planet. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's still the 9th planet. Anyway, Pluto was discovered on February 18, 1930 by astronomer Clyde W. Tombaugh. Hans Scholl and his sister Sophie were leaders of a German youth group called Vis Rose. Now, I don't know that my German is all that good, so hopefully someone can correct me if I have pronounced it incorrectly. But it means White Rose. This was a group they formed called White Rose. It was a nonviolent intellectual resistance group that conducted an anonymous leaflet and graffiti campaign that called for active opposition to the Nazi regime. They were arrested by the Gestapo on February 18, 1943 for opposing the Nazi regime. This is the birthday of John Travolta, American actor and producer, who was born on February 18, 1954. And Vanna White, American model and game show hostess, who was born on February 18, 1957. I wonder if she appreciates having her age splattered all over the interwebs. Well, that's the price of fame, I suppose. On February 18, 1959, Ray Charles recorded What I Say at Atlantic Records. The story on this is that he was touring and he was contractually obligated to play a 4-hour show. He and his crew ran out of songs at about 12 minutes short of that 4-hour mark, and so he just began playing and singing whatever fell out of his mouth, and oh my goodness, the crowd loved it. They loved it so much that he called up the recording company and said, we better record this. You know, I sing it when I'm out on tour and people are going crazy over it. So they did. They got in there and recorded it. I've placed a link in the show notes to a 1959 version of Ray Charles' What I Say. It's a pretty lively tune. You might remember it already, but yeah, that's the story on that one. On February 18, 1979, Richard Petty won a then record 6th Daytona 500 after leaders Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough crashed on the final lap of the first NASCAR race, televised live, flag to flag. I probably watched that race too. That's been a long time ago though. On February 18, 2001, Dale Earnhardt Sr., considered one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR history, died at the age of 49 in a last lap crash at the 43rd Daytona 500 in Daytona Beach, Florida. On February 18th of 2010, Wikileaks published the first of hundreds of thousands of classified documents disclosed by the soldier now known as Chelsea Manning. And that's all I have for you today. Again, links to my research are included in the show notes. Thanks for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And remember, those outtakes are coming right up. While you're here, check out my other channel, 8 Susquehanna. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Remember, those outtakes are coming right up. I would like to take a moment to encourage you to like that share button. Okay. Okay, come on now. So many mistakes. Oh, come on now. We're not going to go into all that. Okay. There goes the puppy. There's a good girl. Good girl. This is what happens when we go off script. I don't know how all that's going to go together, or if it's even going to make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not going to go. Probably cut all that out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video. We'll see. Changing it up.